You've entered the red light files. Let's begin. Story 1. Do not interact with him. I didn't find the notebook. It found me. It was 3:04 a.m. when I saw it, left on the bench outside my apartment building. Brown leather cover, weather-worn but intact, with a single phrase burned into the surface. Do not interact with him. No name. No contact info. No brand or decoration. Just that sentence, like a warning or an instruction. I wouldn't have touched it if I hadn't been outside for a smoke, restless, watching the fog swallow the streetlights. The bench was usually empty. But that night, it sat there like it had been waiting. I picked it up. Curiosity more than anything. The air felt heavier than usual. The first page was dated exactly 1 year earlier. 3:03 a.m., entry 1. The writing was neat and methodical. Printed in black ink with no scratch-outs, no hesitation. He appears at exactly 3:03 a.m. Always the same spot. South corner of Pine and Red Hill, near the bus stop. You may observe. You must not wave. You must not follow. You must not speak. If he looks at you, leave. If he waves, do not wave back. If he speaks to you, it's already too late. I flipped through the pages. Each one was a new log, same timestamp, same location. Notes about what the writer saw. The man always appeared. Always stood in the same place. Always vanished after 2 minutes. Each entry was detailed. Exact temperatures. Wind direction. Observations of the man's posture. And it was always the same. Tall. Pale skin. Black suit. Black shoes. Holding an umbrella, even when it wasn't raining. He didn't move. Didn't speak. Didn't look at anyone. Just stood at the corner, perfectly still. The entries went on for weeks. Then, about 20 pages in, the tone shifted. Day 12. I blinked, and he was no longer at the corner. He was standing directly across the street. I hadn't moved. Neither had he. The handwriting became shakier after that. Shorter entries. Less structure. More desperation. Day 17. My bathroom mirror is late. It blinks after I do. Day 19. I answered the phone and my voice asked me if I'd seen him yet. I should have stopped reading then. But I didn't. I kept flipping through, mesmerized by how quickly the journal unraveled. Day 23. I looked at my reflection and it smiled. I didn't. Day 24. The hallway to my bedroom had one more door than usual. Day 26. There was something standing behind me when I turned off the lights. There were no final pages. No name. Just a symbol drawn in heavy ink, a spiral with a vertical line running through it. And then a final message, scrawled large across the inside back cover. He wants to be seen. I wasn't sure what to make of it. It was too elaborate to be a prank and too eerie to ignore. So I went. I stood at the intersection at 3:02 a.m. the next night. Nothing happened. Until 3:03. And then, like someone flipping a switch, he was there. One moment, an empty sidewalk. The next, a man standing at the corner across from me. Tall. Pale. Black suit. Umbrella in hand. He didn't move. Didn't look around. Just stood there. I stood perfectly still behind a row of hedges, heart pounding. After 2 minutes, he was gone. I didn't blink. I didn't look away. He didn't walk off. He just wasn't there anymore. The next night, I went again. He appeared again. Same place. Same time. This time, a light breeze picked up, but his umbrella didn't move. And then the third night. And the fourth. On the fifth night, something changed. At exactly 3:03, I arrived at the corner, early this time. But he was already there. looking straight ahead. He'd never been early before. That's when I noticed something in his other hand. A small notebook. Brown leather. Just like mine. The moment I realized it, he turned his head, directly toward me. I froze. He tilted his head slightly. I ran. When I got back home, the notebook I'd found had changed. There was a new entry written in shaky handwriting I didn't recognize. He saw me. I didn't run fast enough. Now my shadow belongs to him. I dropped the book. Every mirror in my apartment suddenly looked wrong. Delayed. Off sync. When I walked past the microwave door, my reflection stayed behind for a second too long. I stopped going to the corner. But it didn't matter. The sightings started happening elsewhere. At first, they were glimpses. A reflection in the window of a passing bus. A pale face through the glass of a closed shop at night. The silhouette of a man on the sidewalk while I rode the elevator to my floor. Always at 3:03. Always still. Always watching. I tore the pages out of the notebook. Burned them in the sink. Flushed the ashes. The next night, the entire journal was back on my desk. Open to a page I didn't write. You've skipped too many nights. He's noticed the absence. That night, the power went out in my apartment. I lit a candle, sat on the floor, and waited. I didn't want to sleep. I didn't want to see him again. At 3:03, every single window in the room fogged over from the inside. And someone knocked from the other side of the mirror. 3 slow, deliberate knocks. I moved out the next day. I didn't leave a forwarding address. I changed phones, wiped my accounts, disabled GPS. For a while, things got quiet. Until a week ago, when I went to a bookstore across town. As I browsed a shelf, a book fell from above and hit the floor at my feet. It was the notebook. Brown leather. The same words on the cover. Do not interact with him. I left it on the floor and walked out. The next morning, I found it on my kitchen counter. Things escalated fast after that. The apartment next to mine, which had been empty for months, was suddenly occupied. Every night, I heard footsteps in the hallway outside, but the building records still listed it as vacant. I covered every reflective surface in my home, windows, screens, the metal paneling on the fridge. It didn't help. Reflections began appearing in things that shouldn't have them. A cup of coffee. A turned-off light bulb. The dark center of my eye. I saw him everywhere. But no one else did. 3 days ago, I received an envelope with no return address. Inside was a photo. It was me, sleeping. But in the background, through the gap in the closet door, he was there. Umbrella leaning beside him. A second photo followed the next day. Me again. Awake this time. On the phone. Laughing. But in the window behind me, his hand pressed against the glass. I've been trying to leave the country. I've booked 3 different flights. Each time, something stops me. One time I overslept, despite setting 5 alarms. Another time, my rideshare app sent the driver in the opposite direction. The last time, the entire airport terminal lost power just before boarding. When I returned home after the 3rd attempt, the notebook was on my pillow. Its pages filled with entries I never wrote. Tonight he waved. I waved back. He smiled. I don't remember waving. I don't remember smiling. But last night, I caught my reflection doing both. Without me. I think I know what this is now. It's not just a game. Not even a haunting. It's a cycle. Someone leaves the notebook. Someone else finds it. You observe. You log. You become obsessed. You miss a night. You get seen. And once you're seen, you can't be unseen. You stop logging. You start being logged. You stop watching. You become the watched. At 3:03 tonight, I'm going back to the corner. I have the notebook with me. I'm going to leave it on the bench where I found it. Someone else will pick it up. They always do. I don't know if they'll make it to night 10. Or night 20. Maybe they'll be smarter. Maybe they won't wave back. But one thing's for sure. He'll be waiting. He always is. And now, so will I. Story 2. The website only opens at 2:17 a.m. It started with a Wi-Fi glitch. One night, around 2 a.m., I noticed my laptop had connected to a network I didn't recognize. The name was strange, just a single period, dot. I live in a suburban neighborhood. My signal list usually includes my router, my neighbors, and the occasional phone hotspot. But this one was different. No password. Full bars. And it disappeared after a few minutes. The next night, same thing. I decided to connect. Nothing happened at first, no redirects, no malware alerts, nothing. But when I checked my browser history the next morning, there was a URL I didn't remember visiting. www.217signal.com. I clicked it. Nothing loaded. Just a blank screen. I viewed the source code. It was empty, except for one line, faint gray. Access denied, time restricted. No other instructions. I thought it was an ARG or some edgy art project. But it got under my skin. So I set my alarm for 2:15 a.m. At 2:17 on the dot, I refreshed the page. This time, it loaded. The feeds. The screen went black. Then white static. Then a stream faded in. It was a grainy surveillance camera. A room I didn't recognize. Empty. Dim, a single chair in the middle. Text in the top left corner. Live feed 1. No controls. No sound. Then it switched. Live feed 2. A hallway. Narrow. Silent. Then another, a stairwell. Then a kitchen. No people. No movement. Just static, grainy rooms. Cold lighting. Until the 7th feed. Live feed 7. It was my backyard. I recognized the tree. The dent in the fence. Same breeze moving the leaves. Same light flickering near the garage. And in the corner of the screen. A red circle. Recording. Isolation. I didn't sleep that night. The next day, I checked the website again during the afternoon, nothing. Time restricted. At 2:17 the following night, I went back. New feeds. This time, feed 3 showed the hallway outside my apartment. And I mean live. The laundry basket was in the exact same place I'd left it earlier that evening. Feed 6 showed my street. Feed 7 showed my living room. Me. I was sitting at my desk. Watching the stream. I moved my hand, and 2 seconds later, my movement showed up in the video. It was delayed. Just a little. Reactions. I told a friend the next day. Jay. I sent him the link. Site's dead, he replied. Nothing loads. I told him about the time restriction. He tried it at 2:17 the next night. Still nothing, he said. Page doesn't exist. I sent him a screenshot. He stopped replying after that. When I texted again, the message failed to send. Then I noticed his contact was gone from my phone. Deleted. The echo. Over the next few nights, the feeds changed again. Feed 1 showed a dark room. Feed 2, someone sleeping. I didn't recognize them. Feed 4, a basement with exposed pipes and a single light bulb swinging slowly. But feed 7 was always the same. Me. From new angles. One night, it was from the hallway. The next, from inside my bathroom. Then, under my bed. I tried turning off all my devices. Unplugged my router. Pulled my battery. covered the cameras. But the feed kept updating. And the red recording light never stopped pulsing. The file. On the 7th night, when I logged in, a new tab opened by itself. It downloaded a file automatically. 217 export.log. I opened it. It was just code. Dozens of lines of data. Then a final message. Sync complete. Candidate viable. Replacement pending. Underneath, a timestamp for 2:17 a.m. tomorrow. I haven't logged back in since. But I still see the red light sometimes, on the back of the TV. On my microwave door. Reflected in windows. I see myself doing things I don't remember. Like smiling. Or standing in the background of someone else's feed. I didn't sleep after reading that log. Sync complete. Candidate viable. Replacement pending. I kept wondering what that meant. Replacement for what? For who? I thought it might just be ARG Theatrics. Creepy internet theater. But the next morning, I found something new. A sticky note on my monitor. It wasn't my handwriting. It just said, confirm presence at 2:17 a.m. No signature. Just that. I live alone. The double. The next night, I didn't check the site. I unplugged everything. Shut the breakers. Turned off the phone. Still, at exactly 2:17 a.m., I heard the sound of my laptop turning on. Even though it was off. No power. The screen lit up. Static. Then a feed. No window. No site. Just video. Of me. Sleeping. Except I wasn't asleep. I was standing in the hallway. Watching the screen. Jay. I went to Jay's apartment the next day. No answer. I asked the building manager if he'd seen him. Jay who, he said. This unit's been empty for 6 months. That was impossible. I had texts. Voicemails. Photos. But when I opened our messages, the thread was blank. When I searched my photos, every picture with Jay was gone. Not missing. Replaced. By photos of me. Standing in the same places. Same poses. But always, alone. The admin panel. The following night, the website opened on its own. No browser. Just full screen. There was no longer a time lock. At the top of the screen, a new message. Welcome, primary. Under it, a series of video feeds, hundreds of them now. Some empty rooms. Others with people sleeping. One was a hospital room. Another was the inside of a moving car. And in the bottom corner, a small icon. Admin access enabled. I clicked it. The site asked one question. Do you recognize yourself? Then it showed me dozens of thumbnails, people, sleeping or unaware. In each one, there I was. Sometimes in the background. Sometimes reflected in mirrors. Sometimes standing next to them, watching. I don't remember being there. But it's me. Smiling. Always smiling. The shadow. Last night, I woke up with the laptop on my chest. The screen showed a new feed. Live feed 0. It was the inside of my room. But darker. Grainier. I was in the frame, lying in bed. But something else was there too. In the corner. A figure. Barely visible. The longer I watched, the clearer it became. Same clothes. Same face. Me. But older. Colder. And then he looked up. Directly into the camera. And mouthed. It's your turn. The ending. Tonight is the 7th day. And the site's already open. There's no turning it off now. I see myself on every feed. Different angles. Different times. Sometimes blinking just a moment too late. sometimes watching from across the street. And I know what's coming. Because the red light isn't blinking anymore. It's solid. Recording has ended. Replacement is complete.
If you made it this far, thanks for staying with me. Some of these stories, they stay with you longer than you'd expect. Take care of yourself out there. And as always, stay safe.